I wasn't planning on doing this video, to be honest with you guys, but a lot of my friends have been asking me, what do you think about the big Microsoft leak? So in one round of Slayer or less, we're going to talk all about it, okay? I guess I got to start at the beginning and say that nothing I read surprised me at all. And I think had anybody really just put the hype down for a second and realized that some plans were leaked, would probably come to the same conclusion. But I think media sensationalism took a stronghold of a lot of people here, and a lot of the so-called reporting was really nothing more than just a list of known quantities. We knew that Microsoft was working on a new console. We knew that Microsoft was working on a mid-year console. We didn't know the code names. They really don't matter. Sometimes we find them out. Sometimes we don't. At the end of the day, it's kind of irrelevant, isn't it? The big surprise of all of the news, not the fact that they're working on new games. Shockingly, of course they're working on a new Doom. Why wouldn't they? But the one thing that really surprised me, two things. One, was we ultimately found out that this leak was of Microsoft's own hand. And I don't think it was intentional. I don't think Microsoft was planning to or trying to secretly give away years and years and years of what they considered trade secrets. I think most of us would have considered just very well-known facts. But it was surprising that they screwed up so bad that they accidentally uploaded their own documentation themselves for the world to see. What surprised me more was the gall of Phil Spencer in some of the things and how candidly him and other Microsoft executives talk to each other in email. Now, maybe it's because of the nature of my work. Maybe it's because of the way I've been raised professionally. But there's a lot of stuff that I think from a professional perspective that stays verbal between myself and my colleagues. And I am careful about what I write because I have in the past been the victim of people forwarding stuff to recipients that was not the original intention, and me looking like a complete idiot and having to explain myself. And maybe Phil and the boys haven't gone through all that quite yet. I don't know. I will tell you, though, that for me, I would be very, very, very shocked to work in a company where some of those people spoke as candidly as they did and aggressively as they did. And the phrase, the pride cometh, before the fall, right? I mean, you've heard that before, and hubris and all that wonderful stuff, right? Does that not seem really, really, really kind of center here? I think that is the news story. The fact that Microsoft so candidly spoke about how Nintendo needs Microsoft, and how they spoke so candidly about their competition was kind of alarming. I wonder if Microsoft is really a boys' club over there, and it's just the guys talking like the guys talk. Now, again, based on the nature of what I do and the fact that I am around a lot of military personnel, I am kind of used to this language. It doesn't offend me. It doesn't bother me. And I'm not saying I welcome it, but I accept it. But that mentality of kind of we're the center of the universe and we know it is very prevalent in Microsoft's emails. And I am surprised that Phil has cultivated and allowed that kind of culture to exist. It comes from the top, but even when your president is so candidly talking about how, hey, Nintendo doesn't realize how bad they need us, it's like, I don't know if that's really true, Phil. I don't really know if that's true. Get it? You're trying to rally the troops at times and understand that tone and inflection and joking and that sort of stuff is lost in the black and white of email. However, I still think when you're kind of going out in a professional environment and you're the voice of the company, you kind of got to act the part. And I'm not really sure what happened there, but I didn't get that vibe at all. Again, all the other leaks, I guess they're exciting. I don't know if there's anything really to discuss here. I suspect a lot of the specifications will change. I suspect a lot of the nuanced, language and lingo will change. And a lot of that documentation that was presented was clearly not really, I don't want to say spell checked, but you wouldn't release that kind of stuff in the wild. It was just more internal memos, and it was spoken about people who actively were aware and tracking the progress. You would not release that data in that form to people who are not familiar with what was going on. And that makes sense. And I think that's a very fair assessment to say. So it's hard to comment on, oh, why are they using 8 gigs of RAM instead of 9 gigs of RAM? Or why are they using chip A instead of chip B? Because we don't know. It doesn't matter. But I was also alarmed by the re-emphasis on digital. Recall during the Don Matrick era of Xbox and the it's always connected and you had to authenticate games and all of that wonderful stuff that really put PlayStation soundly in the lead ever since that exact moment. Let's just be honest. PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5's identity was largely shaped on Microsoft's foul messaging as opposed to Sony just being that good at what they did. I think they just kind of took the ball and ran with it because they're like, oh, wow, of course. What else are we going to do? But Microsoft's re-emphasis on digital again worries me. The emphasis that a lot of the consoles will be solely digital with increased hard drives. I don't like that. And I've talked a lot on this channel recently about the importance of game preservation and the importance of physical media, particularly when it comes to retro gaming, particularly when it comes to me having to import a lot of games now because I want the physical copy. And that worries me that Microsoft is just kind of so willing to basically say, it's fine, it's going to be all digital because that's what it is. And if that's the case, then I think the discussion will change significantly. Obviously, if Sony follows suit, maybe, we all become Switch 2 gamers. Who knows what they're going to do? They're definitely not going to be owned by Microsoft. I could promise you that. But, I guess we'll have to wait and see kind of what the outcome of all of that is. But I suspect a lot of people may kind of look the other way and start to be concerned over Microsoft's insistence on digital only. We'll have to see how that plays out. But the rest of the leaks, no, nothing shocked me or surprised me more, as I just mentioned, some of the mannerisms in which they spoke. But there you have it, my thoughts in one match of Slayer or less. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the content. Hopefully my voice gets a little better here soon. That's the goal, right? Take care of yourselves. And until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.